All right, what's going on, everybody? So, welcome to this podcast that we are starting now. So, this is Jeff, and I'm Derrick, and you've already seen one video by us, I would think, by now, and that was just us playing around,
Right.
right, Jeff?
Right.
And as a way to test the studio, fix the lighting, we actually did a second one that we scrapped because it just
Yeah.
wasn't good,
Right. Right.
But all along, you and I have been talking about starting a real podcast, right?
Yep.
And it's I've been like wondering when to bring it up and when to announce it and overthinking it and everything. But once I knew that I had the right cameras, at least for now,
Yeah.
that are good enough, I was like, all right, Jeff, let's get this thing going. So, what's the name of our new podcast, Jeff?
The rhythm section.
And why?
Well, that's what we are.
Right.
That's what we do.
But people might not know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm a drummer and Derrick is a bassist, and we've had the pleasure of jamming with one another now for many years, and on the local scene and around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought that would be a great name for a podcast.
Yeah, it's tongue in cheek.
Yep.
Yeah, because bass and drums are the foundation of music.
Right.
And they were called the rhythm section.
Yep.
That's just what it is.
Yep.
And we thought that was neat. And then, if once people gets to know this podcast, and we're going to explain why people will get to know this podcast, but then they can be like, hey, it's the rhythm section.
Right. Right.
So I thought that was pretty neat. So we're going to be talking nonsense. We're going to be talking about music, obviously. But what's most exciting is we're going to be peppering in interviews, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And we're going to be talking to musicians that we know, and then through them, new musicians. And for context, we live in the greater Memphis area.
Right.
You and I are literally in Mississippi, North Mississippi, but Memphis is 10 minutes from here, right? So we live in DeSoto County, Mississippi, and Memphis is Shelby County. Between those two counties, there's so many great musicians that we can talk to.
Not only on the local level, but the national level as well.
And we hope to grow that way.
Yeah.
So this is going to be more of a local-based podcast. So if you live in Iowa and you're watching this, hopefully you still enjoy learning about these musicians.
Right.
But we want to help the community. This is sort of like a community thing
for sure.
For us to bring musicians in and just get their story and talk crap and just whatever. And
you're going to hear about not only current local level musicians, but stuff from the past as well. There are a lot of guys that are still in the game in the Memphis area that were in the game when I was a teenager, getting ready to graduate high school.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to those guys too.
Yeah. And we can.
Yep.
Once we get this thing up and running, and we get a few interviews under our belt, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
With the connections we have, because we do legit have some serious connections.
Yeah.
1 degree removed from awesome connections.
Sure.
So this is going to be fun. What else did I want to say? Oh, so, when you launch a new podcast, you always want to be totally ready. Like, you want to be on iTunes. You want to be on Spotify. You want to have all the social media done and ready to go. You want to have the art, the design, the thumbnails. You want to have a branding, We have none of that. Okay? But I don't care.
Right.
These things
but we have easy access to it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think I know someone.
Yeah.
So those things are coming. Right. Hopefully by now we've at least designed a good thumbnail.
Right.
My main man Mondo, who does all my designing and everything, Derrick Joseph's website, and what are those things called that he puts up on the stage? Scrims. Yeah. So that's important to have a good thumbnail.
Right.
We have secured an Instagram page and a Facebook page called the Rhythm Section Pod.
Okay.
But they're just templates and skeletons right now.
Right. And
then eventually we'll be on iTunes and we'll be all over the place, because as much as I want people to watch on the channel, I don't want to cut out a large piece of the audience, because some people don't engage with YouTube.
Right.
They want to listen, because podcasting is what's called a companion medium.
Right.
You get your earbuds in, you're walking the dog, you're driving to work, you're mowing the lawn,
riding on a tour bus.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to do something while listening. Can't
Right.
do that with YouTube.
Right.
So we will eventually branch out that way too.
Right.
But there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is swearing and adult content.
Right.
And I've been going back and forth about this. And this is one of those moments, whoever's watching and listening, that Jeff doesn't know what the hell I'm about to say.
No
I have
clue.
not prepped him on this.
No clue.
I've been going back and forth because we're musicians and
Yep.
we're going to have musicians on here.
Yeah.
So there's a certain language.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want people to be able to listen around their kids.
Sure.
Right.
Mhm.
So I've been toying with that. But I want to be able to be free
Yeah.
as well. I host other podcasts that definitely don't go there.
Sure.
So I've decided that we're going to tag the cover art with parental advisory.
Okay.
You'll hear it in my intro,
Yeah.
and then we're going to swear.
All right.
I'm
good with that.
and try to keep it.
Yeah, we're not going to go crazy.
Not going to go crazy. If someone just starts dropping a bunch of F-bombs, we can edit it out,
Right.
or we can add beeps. I will say, when we get the socials fired up, we're going to be releasing clips. I think I'm going to bleep those.
Okay.
If someone's going through Facebook and they're thumbing away, and then they click on a video and the first word they hear is the F-bomb.
Right.
I don't want that,
Right.
So I think we're going to beep those, right?
Okay.
But, if we drop a SHIT word once in a while,
sure,
it just is what it is.
Right.
So
It's not going to be like you're at a Motley Crue concert or anything, but
right.
Yeah. Stuff could happen.
Yeah. So that's where I kind of stand with that. What do you feel about that?
Total agreement.
No,
but seriously, I mean, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Stuff's going to happen. Things are going to slip out.
Yep.
We're not going to encourage it, but we're not going to discourage it.
That's right.
It is what it is.
That's right. And we have the power of editing.
Sure.
If
Absolutely.
someone just goes off the rails, then whatever.
And just so everybody knows, we don't want to edit a lot of stuff. We are kind of big on what you see is what you get, and we're just trying to keep everything raw and as real as we can. But there may be times when we have to edit something out.
That's right. You and I are going to review everything.
Sure.
Especially at the beginning, because we want to see how good we are.
Right.
We want to listen to how awesome we sound.
But we have already reached out to a couple of people that we really want to interview for this thing, and there will be many, many more. We want to interview as many local Memphis musicians as we can and find out what makes them do what they do and why they do it and why they've been necessarily doing it for 20, 30 years or longer.
And ultimately it grows the podcast because it increases our reach, and then more and more people engage with it.
Yep.
So any last thoughts? We got to get this thing started.
Nope, let's roll.
All right. So Jeff has no idea how I'm going to start this show.
I have no clue.
By design, I wanted you to have some fun with this.
Right.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So
let's do it.
So we're not going to always start with that. That was called cold open, but that
Yeah.
was just us kind of, getting things rolling and explaining why we're doing it. Sort of like a trailer.
Yep.
But now I'm going to start the show.
All right. So we're starting the show.
We're starting the show. You
Let's
ready?
do it. Yep. Let's go.
This is my masterpiece.
Yeah. Okay.
You like that?
I can dig it. I do like that.
All right. Welcome to the Rhythm Section podcast, everybody. That's Jeff. I'm Derrick. And we are the
Rhythm Section.
We discuss music.
All right.
Interview the best musicians in the greater Memphis area. And talk about random nonsense.
Yep. Plenty of that.
This show is recorded at SRP Studios in Great Hernando, Mississippi, and produced by Shelby Row Productions, a podcast production agency.
There we go.
SRP develops professional podcasts, which include audio and video production, graphic design, copywriting, and social media management. SRP also provides a complete launch and development plan and will syndicate your podcast across all major platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. What do you think about that, Jeff?
I think it's awesome.
To learn more, schedule a free consultation today at ShelbyRowProductions.com. Parental discretion of this podcast is advised.
Strongly advised.
That's right. So there you go.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How about that, huh?
Now, what I want to know is when are you going to have that memorized?
Oh yeah, someday.
You know, you're gonna have to be able to spit that out. Actually, you probably should have Mondo record that or something and just play it.
Yeah, I might make it a standard intro, but I think again, I want to be like a radio show.
Yep.
So that's what you do. It's called a live read.
Awesome.
I'm going to teach you the lingo, and of course, let's be sponsored by my business.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, let's promote and push these things out there. So, anyways, thanks for joining us today.
Yep.
Jeff, thanks for being here.
Always.
So I want to, we're going to talk about different things. So we're going to talk about pet peeves. We have to address Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yep.
Don't need to be a downer.
Nope.
But obviously he's an icon. It's a controversial story, but also he's local. I mean, his story is Memphis.
Right.
I believe he lived in DeSoto County too. Then we're going to talk about the Memphis scene and the bands that you have been talking about.
Yeah, the bands that we mentioned on the last recording we did that didn't make the cut. I want to make sure I get those guys plugged and get them on the air.
And throughout, Jeff, we're going to have fun with sounds.
Absolutely.
No, we're going to have fun with sounds.
Yeah.
I got some stuff over here that you don't even know about yet.
All right, good.
Okay, so pet peeves. We all know the saying, first world problems.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I really like that because it puts things in perspective. Like how the ice in my ice machine bunches up.
Yeah.
And I get upset about that.
Right.
First world problem. Like people don't have water.
Right. Or food.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just like first world problem. Just get over it. Dude.
Right.
I'm going to call this a first world peeve.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really matter.
All right.
But it annoys the crap out of me.
Okay.
When I take my car to get serviced, right? I'm not going to mention the name of the place, Toyota, which I love, by the way.
Right.
I've been taking it to the same place since the day I bought it. About in 2018, brand new. The first time I buy a brand new car, and I'm like, I'm going to, go by the book here.
Right.
And about every 6,000 miles, when the little thing pops up, says, hey, maintenance, not like engine fail, but hey, just letting you know.
Right.
You might want to bring it in for an oil change or it's time, right?
Sure.
So I do it. So you go and you set up an appointment and you roll into the bay and then you talk about what you want to do. And then you go wait in the lobby. And someone gets in your car and drives it around the building.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
90 seconds.
Sure.
Why on earth do they have to completely jack up
everything,
the position of your seat?
Sure.
Why?
I don't know.
That drives me crazy. I know it's going to happen.
Yep.
Every my car is at 112,000 miles now. So every 5,000 to 7,000 miles, this happens.
Right.
I don't care how short you are
or
how tall you are. If you're shorter than me, taller than me, can you deal with it for 90 seconds?
Sure. Yeah, there's no real need to change every mirror, every seat.
I know.
The radio station.
Oh. So. And every time I leave the Toyota, I'm not going to say where, Cordova, Wolf Chase, I have to, that's a joke when I say that. I have to, it's like by the time I get on the highway, I'm still like fussing with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
Now, before we go to yours, I have a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
So
what have I done?
In some form of preparation, I texted you, hey, think of a pet peeve. And you kind of understand what that means. We're going to be talking about that.
Yeah.
And what did you say? What did you tell me your pet peeve was?
I don't remember.
You don't like arrogant bass players.
Oh, yes, I did.
Right?
I did. And that obviously was a joke.
I'm too sensitive for that.
Oh, I know better.
I'm too sensitive for that.
I know way better than that.
So you didn't really mean that, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, I still think you're an asshole. Let me know what your pet peeve is.
Mine is, and you know this because you've known me a while, being on time.
Oh, yeah.
I can't stand to be late. I can't stand for someone else to be late when I'm waiting on them to do something. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched the sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, it's classic.
Classic. There was an episode where Ray was just giving Deborah what for because she was always late. And they made an agreement. He was going to the ESPYs. He was getting an award. So they were going out that night. He was in his tux, and she's in the bathroom getting ready, doing her hair, and the curling iron gets stuck in her hair. And they had made an agreement that if she wasn't downstairs on time, he was just going to leave without her. He did.
Big mistake.
And it did not go well. But that was just, that I always think of that episode of that show because I'm big time, be on time, man, be on time. Early is on time and on time is late.
Yes. And you and I absolutely get along with that.
Yep.
It's funny you say that because I have a sound to play that falls into this.
Okay.
You're running late.
Right.
Anxiety is already there.
Yeah.
I take red lights personally.
Sure.
Like that red light is out to get me.
Right.
Right.
We've all done that.
Anyone that lives in Hernando knows there's a train that comes right through here and stops.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm late. I hit a red light and then I see that train.
That pretty well describes it.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
I get it.
I needed a reason to play that.
Oh, that was a good one. Oh.
So, So, all right. Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yep.
Everyone knows him.
And full disclosure, I'm going to admit, I don't know a lot about the guy, and I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this particular episode, so I'm letting you take the lead on this.
Right. And I did put some things together because I didn't either.
Yeah.
You just know him for...
Well, he's an icon.
A whole lot of love. What's it called? Whole lot of shaking going on.
Yep.
Great Balls of Fire.
Yep.
What made me want to talk about this is legacy.
Yeah.
And when you pass, that's the true tell of your legacy.
Yep.
Some people pass and it's an outpouring. Like when Bob Saget passed,
Yeah.
holy smokes.
Right.
Like he just had an outpouring of love. Some people don't get that and respect and everything. But there's also, if you have a controversial life, which are moments in your life,
Sure.
that's tagged on you forever.
Mm-hmm.
Years and 100 years after you die.
Right.
So obviously everyone knows, but Jerry Lee Lewis married his 13-year-old cousin back in the late 50s.
Right.
And sure enough, he passes, and then iconic rock and roll singer, married 13-year-old cousin.
Right. Right.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So everyone's reminded, a whole generation doesn't know him and like, what?
Right.
So now he's almost getting like damned again.
Yeah.
And that's not good, marrying a 13-year-old cousin. We can all agree to that. But I found it fascinating.
Yeah.
When people die, that legacy just moves on and his was unfortunate.
Right.
With that said, we can't forget the impact he had on music.
On people's lives through music.
Yeah. I mean, he was at Sun Records with Johnny Cash.
Right.
Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Carla Perkins.
Yeah.
Those are the originals
that's
there.
Music royalty.
So let me just kind of run down some things. So
sure.
He was called the Killer.
Yeah.
I think he called himself the Killer. He was the first wild man, they said. Sam Phillips, the founder of Sun Records.
Right.
If you ever seen Walk the Line about Johnny Cash, it's a big part in there.
Yep.
He said that he called Lewis the most talented man he ever worked with.
Right.
He worked with Elvis, Howlin' Wolf, Johnny Cash, Carla Perkins, Roy Orbison.
It's pretty good company.
Right. And he said most talented.
That's amazing.
Again, legacy. Almost as quickly as his star ascended, his career collapsed after he married his 13-year-old cousin in 1958.
Right.
Mere months after his first hit song was issued.
And you wonder if he had any idea that might happen. I wonder if he thought it would affect his career that way.
Who knows? Maybe he was so arrogant that he thought he could get away with it.
Or maybe he loved somebody so much he didn't give a damn.
And they were married 10 years.
So
something was there.
Right.
So in late 56, he was signed to Sun Records by Sam Phillips. which is located right in Memphis.
Yep.
It's iconic place. It's a museum now.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, he played with Elvis and Johnny Cash. When he was 25, he struck gold with that career-defining hit, "Whole Lot of Shaking Going On."
Yeah.
25 years old. That's prime. Here's another interesting thing, though, is, and I didn't know this until I did this research, and that's unfortunate. He didn't write it. It was a black artist
Okay.
called Big Maybell for OK Records, OKEH. So that it's like, oh, okay, that's another Elvis thing.
Yeah.
Like these black artists, the whiteys came in and made them popular,
Right.
And I hope Big Maybell got some kind of royalties on that.
Certainly hope so.
But I doubt it because things didn't work that way back then. But let's give credit to,
Sometimes they probably don't work that way now.
Oh, I know. Well, the black artist gets to do the song.
Right.
That's what's up there. But Big Maybell, OK Records, let's give them credit.
Sure.
Then in 57, Great Balls of Fire came out. So
Huge.
50, he was 25. Oh, so it was 1955 with a whole lot of shaking going on. Then 57, Great Balls of Fire.
Right.
So let's go back to how he got in trouble. He was in England on a tour in 1958, and a British reporter asked about the pretty young girl at his side, and it was Lewis's wife, Myra, who was just turned 13 years old.
Wow.
As the press went digging, they realized even more that she was his cousin. Now, I asked my mom, she knew more about it. It was first cousin. Well, it's called first cousin once removed.
Right.
So his cousin's daughter.
Right.
But still,
yeah.
Isn't that incest?
That's yeah.
Parental advisory.
There it is.
His career instantly fell apart. He was commanding thousands of dollars per show, and that just went away.
Wow.
And that's why he stopped touring with his band. He couldn't afford it. So much like Chuck Berry did.
Yeah.
Whatever city he was going to, someone was putting a band together for him.
Right.
So that's what he did. So he always had a different rhythm section. Am I right?
Yep.
Am I right?
Rhythm
section.
Yeah.
Okay. See that?
See that?
How I connected that?
I like it.
But it did enter a third act where the last couple decades he was able to be a legacy act and tour and people moved on and everything. And he collaborated with Mick Jagger, Tom Jones, Bruce Springsteen, Kid Rock, Jillian Welch. I don't know who Jillian Welch is, but if that person's with Bruce Springsteen, but with Kid Rock is thrown in there. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Mick Jagger, Tom Jones, Bruce Springsteen,
Kid Rock. That doesn't really fit, but hey, I'm
weird.
I'm all about it.
Great Balls of Fire, a whole lot of shaking going on. That's what people remember. So much so he said that if he didn't do those songs at his concerts, they'd shoot me at the end of the show, he said.
Right.
Meaning that's really what they went to see.
Sure.
So, Godspeed, I guess.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Huge loss to the Memphis music community and to the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So
why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
Like I said, we're gonna have fun with sounds today,
yeah,
Jeff.
absolutely.
Let's have a little more fun with sounds. All right, enough weirdness with Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Let's think of something here because you don't know what I'm looking at.
I have no clue. You haven't shown me a thing about today's
all right, dad
episode.
Joke.
Yep.
Here we go. Why didn't the skeleton cross the road?
I don't know.
He didn't have the guts.
Oh, yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Do you have a joke?
I do, but I'm not going to tell it because I don't even know if the parental advisory would work. And it's a across the street joke too. Not going to do it. So I'm going to take this opportunity though. I'm going to mention some Memphis musicians.
Take it away, Jeff.
So here about, I think it was a week ago. It was just not this weekend, but last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We had some pretty amazing local Memphis original music going on in the city. And it was kind of weird that all of these artists played on the same night. Josie Scott, from former lead singer of Saliva, and I think he founded the thing. I think he was the one responsible for its formation.
Mm-hmm.
But he came back to town to do some Saliva songs and some Josie Scott music, and he had Roxy Blue jam with him, and also Every Mother's Nightmare. Both of those bands kind of were the soundtrack to my teenage years. They were amazing.
And
stuff. Local.
Yeah.
Memphis in the late 80s, early 90s, Memphis had a lot of major national talent going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about a lot of that in the future and hopefully interview a lot of those guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it was those three at one location. And then we had Grape and the Fast Mothers that played a separate location. And I believe they played Ernestine and Hazel's. And Josie and those other bands I mentioned were playing at Growlers. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to mention them because this town is so full of killer original music, especially from the rock genre. Memphis is thought of as a blues city. A lot of blues here, but there's a lot of killer rock and roll here.
And I want to give you credit for opening my eyes and talk about Fast Mothers and Every Mother's Nightmare because it was a while back. Was it a benefit that we went to?
I believe it was. We saw the Fast Mothers and Fever Tree, another killer original
Every
band.
Mother's Nightmare and Elevation.
Elevation.
Right?
Memphis, yep.
Yeah.
They were there.
So
that was at Neil's.
It was at Neil's Music Room. And it was the first time that I actually went out to see live original music.
Right.
I don't go out much anyway.
Me either.
You and I actually went to check out this cool band called Area 51. It's a cover band, and and I think because I used to live in Nashville,
right,
that going to see an original band was either singer-songwriter type stuff,
right,
which is nice,
sure,
but not my thing,
right.
It just doesn't engage with me, or really watered down pop country,
sure.
Well, I decided to go to this event with you, and man, it was eye-opening. I'm like, oh, yeah, like there's a rock local scene too, and I really liked Fast Mothers. Out of that whole bunch, they were my favorite.
Just smoking talent.
It's just and good writing, good punchy songs,
and I'd been the reason that I know who the Fast Mothers are is because of Tracy and Chris Rubel. I've known who Tracy Rubel was.
Is Tracy the singer?
Tracy sings for the Fast Mothers, but he played drums years ago. He was a drummer that I looked up to when I was starting to play.
And Chris is the drummer in Fast Mothers.
Correct. Yeah. Chris plays drums in the Fast Mothers. And Tracy played drums for a band called Thrust back in the late 80s. And we'll talk about Thrust in the future and their members. And, it's just great lineage, musical history from my time as a teenager and not going out to see live music back then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, both of us have kind of gotten to where we don't go out enough because we play. Mm-hmm. And when you're a musician that plays, you kind of get tired of going out to hear music. But we're getting better at that because of this podcast.
We're going to have to.
We want to have all that information.
It's research
and all that research. Absolutely.
But I don't drink anymore, and just the bar scene just doesn't appeal to me anyway.
Sure,
so.
But when you got bands like that playing, it's worth getting out to go.
It really is. If anyone's watching this, that's in the local Memphis area, check out those bands. Every Mother's Nightmare, Fast Mothers.
Fever Tree.
Yeah.
I'm not real familiar with Grape, but now that I know they played a show with the Fast Mothers, I want to go see them and learn about them too. And Elevation, they're killer band.
And it can't be understated how much work it takes to be an original band like those bands. It takes sacrifice, dedication, playing for nothing. These guys don't. It's not like they're playing a gig at Dan McGinnis making $400. And no, they're trying to get involved with festivals and playing a lot of free shows.
Right. Because they love it.
Right.
And they love Memphis. I know that Tracy and Chris are just Memphis to the bone. Mm-hmm. They love this town, this city, and they love being a part of the scene here. So.
Yeah. And to be together, like you really rely on each other more.
Right.
Like you take one person out of Fast Trees, now the band's not the same.
Right.
You can switch things more with the cover bands.
Right.
It's just the way
Sure.
it's designed. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, kudos to them. You
Yep.
know, because it's hard for me to be in a band like that.
Right.
You know, I'm not a writer. Never really cared to be one.
Yeah.
I want to work.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and make money.
And
So that's
make
why I
money.
was all down
Sure.
with I was down with making money.
Oh.
See, fun with sounds.
Yeah.
Telling
Fun
you.
with sounds. Yeah. So yeah, I like the money aspect of playing music as well. So covers has always been fine with me.
Well, man, this was fun.
Yeah.
We're 36 minutes in. You know, I'm very much looking forward to this.
Me too.
To really make this a weekly thing. That's
Yeah.
our goal.
Yeah.
Not every episode is going to have an interview.
Yeah.
If you see an interview or an episode where it's just me and Jeff, it's probably because we didn't have someone booked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm sure that'll happen. But
and this is just fun doing this with you.
absolutely.
I get to use my studio. And today I really came in here and put a game plan together as far as lighting and cameras.
Sure.
And I think it's going to be okay. And we're going to learn a lot from this. We're going to make a lot of good connections. We're going to get to know a lot of people.
Yeah. And we may have some guests in here that aren't necessarily music related once in a while. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I got to go to New York City.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it kind of short, but this past summer, I got to go up to New York City for the SEAL swim, where the Navy SEALs actually swim the Hudson River. I've got a friend that's a SEAL, been in there for a long time, done a lot of tours of duty. He's absolutely a hero to me, and watching him swim across the Hudson River in front of the Statue of Liberty was pretty impressive.
So they're crossing the river?
Yeah, they're dropped off at a certain point, and then they swim from that point. There's different legs. They'll swim a certain leg, and then they get off on a platform to rest and do push-ups and pull-ups. And
rest.
Yeah, it's not really rest from swimming to do other things.
Yeah.
And then they get back in. I don't remember the total distance that they swam, but it was a lot longer than I typically walk. And so, but we'll have Jim Purdy is his name, and we'll get him in here at some point and interview him for that. And
because I'd been interested in like what's the distance of that, and
sure.
While you were there, do you know the time it took?
I don't remember,
because that's interesting.
It is, and because part of it they're swimming with the current, part of it they're swimming against the current. And it wasn't just SEALs. There were also other first responders that participated. I think any first responder that wants to can. I don't recommend they all do, because it's pretty physical. There were people on jet skis rescuing people that couldn't do it.
Man.
But hey, God love them for trying.
But like isn't the Hudson known to be gross?
Absolutely. And that was the worst part to me, was just thinking about what they're swimming in.
Did they stink?
I didn't get close enough to find out. But it was a lot of fun, and just seeing that city and seeing that those guys do what they do and being around that was pretty amazing.
Man, that's good stuff. So, well, all right, man. Let's wrap this thing up.
Wrapping this one up.
That was a lot of fun. Man, that was great.
Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Looking forward to getting some guys in here that we want to interview and get all kinds of information.
Yeah. Well, we're going to make this happen. Okay, so the outro.
Yep.
Thank you for listening.
All right.
You can find us on Instagram. That's not ready yet.
Okay.
You can find us on Facebook. That's not ready yet. You can find us at www.websitenotready.com.
Okay.
But YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Woo! That's what we got.
That one's ready.
You know,
And Facebook.
Well, not yet.
Well,
Not yet.
yeah.
I just said.
I know, but we'll be putting it on our personal links to it on our personal Facebook.
Gotcha.
pages.
So there's personal pages and business
Yeah.
pages. The business pages, if you will, are not ready yet. But yes,
Right.
follow Jeff Ward
Yeah.
at Jeff Ward. Follow
Yeah.
me. Our links will be in the description.
Absolutely. And that's Derrick Michaud.
Good job.
Yeah. And that's
Good job.
Michaud. Did I do that correctly? All right.
Good job.
Yeah. Mine's much easier to pronounce and spell. Yeah. All right.
All right, y'all. Take care, everyone. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.